Today, let's talk about teaching progressively, teaching progression of skills. Okay, start from A, and hopefully you get to Z. And if you do it right, you probably will get from A to Z. Okay. What prompted me to do this video is I was watching recently Ken Brink and his judo practice. Ken is a great judo coach here at Welcome Mat in the Kansas City area, and takes his coaching very seriously. And he and I had a discussion at one of his practices, and he was telling me where he was watching a video of a world-class judo athlete do a particular throw. And he said, I know my kids can do that throw. He said, I know that they have it in them. It's kind of our style. We like doing that particular thing. But the way he was doing it was very advanced. It was obvious this person had spent hours and hours practicing this move, and they're doing it on a high level. He said, so I need to work that so my kids will get it. How can I best start them? So we were kind of kicking ideas around. And sure enough, after a period of time, Ken started teaching that skill and where his kids could best understand it. He literally started them from the base, the A. Okay, he didn't start them to try to mimic exactly how that world-class judo athlete was doing it. He knew he had to change that so that his kids and his judo team could pick it up and gain skill in it. And that's what he did. He progressively, and they're still working on it, and they're going to get good at it because he's staying with it. You know, he's sticking with the program. So he really took that to heart. You just don't, and of course we all learn by watching YouTube and the internet and watching other people, watching competitions, taking notes. I took vociferous numbers of notes. Is that the correct word? A lot of notes. Let's put it that way. I was vociferous in my enthusiasm for it. That's better. But a huge number of notes all the time, and stats and everything else. I'm a geek about that, and I think all coaches should be. If you're a coach, you're probably a geek about this stuff too. You're watching and you're making, if not mental notes, physical notes. Write it down. Study the tapes of your kids and other people competing. So we learn from these things, but we don't mimic them exactly. We make it work for us. That's what functional coaching is about. Make it work for you. Make it work for your team. Okay. There's some things that are appropriate for some age levels. Some things aren't. If you saw some really cool move at a training camp, but it's dangerous, don't teach it to your kids until they're older, physically mature enough, or skilled enough, certainly skilled enough, or kids or adults even, to be able to handle that type of a skill. You saw something on the internet or YouTube about a great technique or whatever, and you want to, just like Ken did, make it work for your people. Okay, so don't just mimic that move, and also make sure you do it safely. Okay, we're showing some new guys learning Osogari, major out of reap. Eric Millsap's working with some of the new guys. So, Eric, go ahead and keep coaching them. We'll just take some. You guys might be on YouTube, so take a look.
I want to get a throw on YouTube.
Oh yeah, you keep doing it. Keep trying, guys. Yeah, take turns. Take turns. Earlier, we started with them. They learned their break falls, and you notice we're using the crash pads for safety. So if you're teaching new guys, this is one of the first throws we teach. But they've been doing spinning jiu-jitsu quite a bit, and some breakdowns, some mat control. We literally teach them from the ground up, but here we're starting them on their throws. So this is, guys, it's their very first night at practice here at Welcome Mat, and they're learning Osogari. And earlier, Craig Jarnigan was helping them because they're friends of Craig's, but right now, Coach Eric Millsap's working with the guys, and they're all just taking turns. And notice they do their break falls, which they've been taught, but they're also using another element of safety, the crash pads. And notice how he steps in and he hooks the foot. Notice he pulls down on the elbow. It's a basic step across, and there we go. Okay. Again, it's their first night here, and they're learning Osogari. Now they were for the earlier. We're about 45 minutes, an hour into the practice. We were doing spinning jiu-jitsu quite a bit, and some breakdowns, and of course practicing their break falls. So they learn their ground fighting first. And they come back, and this is one of the first throws we teach. And it's a good self-defense throw, It's a good throw to teach basics of breaking the balance, gripping, controlling the body. So you see there's working here. And there we have it, and see the guys are just practicing good form, real good basic form. And while just a general practice, the other more advanced guys are training. It's all adults tonight, older teens and adults. And we have the guys here working, and they're one of our good coaches, Eric Millsap. And he's showing the guys the basics. It's very important that you learn fundamental skills. And we really emphasize that. We recommend everybody learn and teach fundamental skills, because fundamental skills done on a high level become elite level skills. You got to have your fundamentals. You can't shortcut anything. So spend a lot of time learning your fundamentals, and after you do that, then make the throw or technique, whatever it may be, in this case a throw, make it work for you, make it work for your body type and your body size, and make it, you know, fit you like a glove. But you have to learn the fundamentals first. So, and you can see this is a regular learning session. Break the balance. Why don't you guys go ahead and grab him like you would a jacket, because he's got a shirt on. Use it. It's another handle. Okay, be sure you step in.
It's a lot easier when
There you go. So that's Osogari. It's one of the first throws we teach, and always have a good coach teach you. That's important. Properly plan your activity. I think that goes about in just general coaching and no matter what. And teach these skills in proper, correct progression. Okay, it could be a basic throw, arm lock, pin, choke, leg lock, whatever it is you're teaching, but teach the fundamentals first. And remember, world-class skill, and I've said this many times, and you're probably bored of hearing me say it, world-class skill, elite-level skill, really is nothing more than fundamentals done to their full potential. You as that athlete have made that move work for you to where you have a very high ratio of success in a variety of different circumstances. That is world-class skill. And it all starts with the basics. So progression of skill is, you've got to, like I said earlier, you've got to start at A before you can get all the way through the alphabet to get to Z. Okay. So as a coach, think it through, just like Ken Brink did. Think it through. Develop some lesson plans that progressively will get your kids or your adults or your students to that point you want to get them there, to where you want to get them. So the lesson plans are really important. You know, and an overall outline. You know, the overall outline is kind of like your big picture, okay? And your lesson plans are the things you'll be doing just about at the practice. And you know, where you want to have a really good idea on your outline, your big picture, the goal you want to achieve. That lesson plan may have to change from time to time depending on circumstances. You know, don't just change it because you want to, but your lesson plan you may have to adapt that lesson plan. If the people who show up just aren't ready for that move you want to teach that night. So change it, make it work for them. When I talk about adequately prepared in lesson plans, you don't need to go overboard on writing everything down, but you should. Okay, you should write things down. So as I said earlier, you know where you were at a particular time in teaching something, and you know to add to it. Okay. It's kind of a little journal as a coach. I always did. I have a number of them that I still look back at when I taught something in 1985 or whenever it was, and it's interesting reading for me now. But you know what? I still use it. I still use a lot of those notes, and I hope you do too. So in your lesson plans, they serve as a good diary of coaching, as it were. So that's something to keep in mind. When you do teach, break it down so it is understandable. Okay, show the move, the whole move at regular speed, then slow it down a bit, and then piece it out. Okay, piece it out. You know, this part here, this part there, and they all come back, and then bring them back together. Okay, don't take forever to talk and yap on about the move. Make it short, make it sweet, be succinct in teaching, but don't be curt. Don't take shortcuts. Teach it adequately and fully, but at the same time, know that you have to introduce it, break it down into parts, put it back into a whole thing again, and then let them practice it, and then lots of practice time. Don't expect them to get it right off. Expect not something in hours, weeks, or days, a long time. It will take a long time to practice and drill on it. Create drills that will reinforce that particular skill, tactic, or whatever you're working on. So drill training, structured drill training, is fundamental to teaching a progression of skills. Okay, have some drills as they're getting better. Have drills along the way that will increase them to the next level of expertise. So drill training is really essential, and you can invent drills. You can make drills up on any aspect of any part of what we do, and you can make good drills for it to reinforce and teach and reinforce the skills for your students at different levels. Okay, so there's more to drill training than just banging out a whole bunch of uchikomi and then doing randori. There's a lot more to practice than that, and that skill, the structured training, is based on those drills.
Kyle, can I use you? Dude, don't get too close to me. I got to show you the stuff. Okay. All right. So I was talking to your coach, and one thing he wants to really work on this season is your gripping. Okay. So I'm kind of good at this. I'm not the best, but I have some ideas. I think it's worked for a lot of our guys here at Welcome Mat for a long time. So we're going to do some gripping now. If you know some of this stuff, bear with me. We're going to start from scratch, but we're going to really get into some gripping drills tonight and really work on them, okay? No matter what age you are, gripping is an essential part of judo, okay? Now, there's some fundamental things you should do, some fundamental things you should not do. We're going to cover the bad things first, okay? So when I bow, we start. I'm going to fight Kyle. Tell me what I'm doing wrong, okay? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Look at my right hand, look at my right foot. Now tell me what I'm doing wrong. What am I doing wrong?
You stepped with the right foot and you put out the right
That's
hand.
exactly right. That's exactly right. So when I'm fighting here and I'm starting, I want to see if I'm leading with my right foot, I'm going to get my left hand first to jerk him in. Because I don't want to do this, because guess what? He could foot sweep me right away. Boom. And I've seen it happen a lot. So if we're coming out here and I do this, bam, I'm asking him to get drilled. Okay? All right. So when we start, hands up. Now, another thing I don't want to do is be all bent over. I got to have a good posture. It's almost like I'm throwing my hips forward when I do this. When you're gripping somebody and they're all bent over, they're off balance. I don't want to be that guy off balance. So I want to be, instead of being like this, you can just dominate me. So I want to be upright. Okay? Okay. Now, some other things. When we're doing this, I don't want you big looping movements with your hands. Everything is like, it's like a boxer would do. Really short, choppy movements with the hands. Don't big looping movements. If I'm coming out here, it's pretty obvious. Boy, he can come in with a nice serenagi and I'm taking a trip. Those are some things you don't want to do, okay? So keep your hands in close and short. Now list the things you need to do. As soon as you bow, hands up, step forward, hands up, just like Kyle did that perfect. It's like I'm looking through a screen here. Computer screen, TV screen, whatever, okay? And when I make contact, when we're at gripping, and I make contact, I'm going to get, my hand is probably going to be what I call my anchor hand. I got a good anchor on it because now I can start moving and doing other stuff, okay? I'm going to be grabbing his sleeve as my anchor hand. That's okay. You're going to have one hand you're going to start with, and the other hand you're going to get and move around. All right, don't just go in there and go like that, because he will stop you, okay? So have a plan which hand you're going to lead with. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, are you doing that now? Are you thinking about that? Kids can think about this. You're not dumb. Just because you're kids doesn't mean you can't know these things. You should do them, okay? Or adults sometimes too. Okay, so we're doing this. So I got my hand, I got my grip. Now I can start working them. Now this other hand, what we call a power hand, or your steering hand often, okay? Now that's a hand, and I never want to just kind of grab at the same time because I'm still open and he could come in and hit me with a move. So once I get my first hand here, my anchor, now I'm going to start, as soon as I grip here, I'm going to start moving at the same time. Now I never like to go forward or backward in a straight line because I'm walking right into a throw. Okay, so when I grab, I'm going to probably move one way or the other. and I'll probably move over to my right like this and get my grip. If you ever watch your coach grip, that's exactly what he does. And he's gripped a lot of guys and set them up with his throws. Because now, I'm thinking in my mind, I want to set this guy up with a throw. So I'm thinking, don't just want to grip him. What do I want to do with that grip? I got to take it to another level. So, like say you're a Tayotoshi guy or girl, okay? So I get my grip, and I'm going to circle around to the outside, and as soon as I circle around to the outside, I get set my hand there, and boom, I shoot in my Tayotoshi. So we can start setting things up right from the get-go. A lot of the best grips.
And why you're teaching something. What's the purpose of it? Okay, let's look at it. Let's take judo. Okay, it's a subject near and dear to many of our hearts. Jiro Kano founded judo primarily to be a form of physical education, and it is an excellent form of physical education. So, are you teaching judo for physical education? Okay, yeah, you are. All of us should be. Okay, but then are you training athletes? When I'm training athletes, and before I used to train a lot of athletes. I don't do that so much anymore. My younger coaches do, but I still kick in and help. What's the purpose? Why is that training session? Are we in a periodization, a particular training cycle when we're training for a particular national or international tournament or regional competition? Why are we there? We're honing the skills for a competitive situation. It's no longer just physical education now. We're taking it to another level, not necessarily a higher level, just a different level when we're coaching for winning tournaments. Okay, when you coach competitive athletes, do not be ashamed to enjoy winning. Now, that doesn't mean to be a jerk about it, hold it over people. I don't subscribe to the fact that do anything to win. I stay within the rules, within the things that are fundamentally, ethically, morally sound to do. Don't use steroids. Don't use drugs. Don't cheat. Don't be a dirty fighter. But at the same time, if you're coaching athletes, coach them to win. Okay, if they're training to win in competition, that's the focus. It's no longer just physical education. It's now gone on to another facet, like I said, another level, not necessarily always a higher level, but a different level of training to win. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Okay, you also have students that want recreation. That's where the physical education part. It's good to teach them those skills, but they want to come in and just get a good workout, whether they're children, adults, whatever it is. Judo again and jiu-jitsu or sambo, but certainly judo we're talking a lot about here, is that it is so wonderful because you can adapt it to any group you want to work with. Okay, are you going to be having a group of, let's say you have a group of middle-aged and older middle-aged people in your class or in your group? Are you going to be running them through the same type of workouts you're going to be running your 18 and 25-year-olds who want to compete in the nationals? No, you shouldn't be anyway. And I hope you're not. I know I'm not. So as a coach, we have to adapt to that. Now, also, so anyway, provide a good progression of skills, if I could say that out. Sorry about that. But we're talking about progression of skill here. And start from A and eventually work to Z. Maybe not everybody will get to Z, but somewhere along the line, they'll find it either works for them or it doesn't, and you hope as a good coach you can make it work for them. So anyway, that's it so much on progression of skills. Thanks for